So I'm always trying to come up with new ways to teach AutoCAD. If one way doesn't seem to be working, I try and approach it from a different angle, a different point of view. And, this whole virtual learning has definitely thrown a curveball into, the way we normally do things. So I came up with an idea, and hopefully this will help you all start learning some of the most basic features of CAD. So I have shared with you this AutoCAD student checklist. So this will be coming to you in your email. And what I want you to do is go through this checklist step by step. When you have been able to complete one of those steps, go on to the next step. If you are having problems completing that step, well, then, you can get a hold of me and we can help to figure that out. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through that checklist step by step, demonstrating each part. And hopefully this video will be the primary reference in case you have any questions regarding the completion of that AutoCAD checklist. So without further ado, let's get into AutoCAD. All right, here we've got a blank drawing area. And again, a quick review. This whole area up here is called the ribbon. This area down here is called the status bar. We've got various buttons and selections we can make in either the ribbon or the status bar. So the first part of the checklist talks about mouse functions. So you really need a mouse to properly do AutoCAD. And your mouse should have a left button, a right button, and somewhere in the middle of that, it would be your thumb wheel. So the first part of the checklist is rotate the thumb wheel in and out. And by doing so, you can zoom in or zoom out from your drawing area. So I am moving my thumb wheel in and out. That is the first step in the checklist. The second step in the checklist is to hold the thumb wheel down and move the screen left and right. And as long as I've got my finger holding down that thumb wheel, I can move my screen left and right. This is called panning. Okay? So if I move my thumb wheel in and out, I zoom. If I hold down my thumb wheel and move my mouse left and right, I can pan. When we're way out here, it doesn't make a big deal. But if I'm zoomed in and I'm trying to move or position my drawing so I can, do things with it, I might need to zoom in and out. I might need to pan. So that's why this is important to learn these things. Okay. So next, it says click and hold down the left button to select objects in a small area. So if I hold down my left button, what I can do is I can circle around and I can select objects. And notice when I let the button go, everything turned blue. So again, I do that by holding in my left mouse button and I can select objects. Now, if I want to select a whole area, what I can do is I can click one time with my left mouse button, drag down, click another time, and then everything in that big area is highlighted. So those are two ways to select things using the mouse button. All right, now we're going to go on to creating some lines. So the first thing that we need to talk about with creating lines, the first check on the checklist, has to do with ortho mode. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that we are in ortho mode. So down here in the status bar, there's a little button called ortho mode. It's right here, and it looks like a right angle. I want to make sure that button is blue. So ortho restricts my cursor from moving in diagonals. It makes sure that I can only draw lines that are either straight up and down at 0 degrees. Well, I guess that would be 90 degrees, or horizontally at 0 degrees. That's what ortho does. If I have ortho off, then my lines will be diagonally and wonky, and I want nice straight lines. Another thing we're going to do is we are going to turn on and off the snap selection button down here in the status bar. So right here is my snap cursor button. If I click on it, I turn it off, it's not blue, it's off. If I turn it back on, it's blue, it's on. So I need to be able to turn on and off snap and turn on and off ortho mode. So our next check in the checklist is to draw a 30-inch horizontal line in ortho mode with the dynamic input off, without a dynamic input. What is dynamic input? Dynamic input is if I start typing on the keyboard, and there I just typed in copy, that right there is dynamic input. So dynamic input is a way that I can get commands just by typing on the keyboard. So we're going to draw a line without the dynamic input. So I'm going to go up here to the line function up here in the ribbon. I'm going to click on the line box. And the first thing it says is it specify my first point. All I have to do is click the left mouse, and I start to drag my cursor over. And because I'm in ortho mode, no matter if I move the cursor up and down, because I'm in ortho mode, it's a nice horizontal line. If I went down here and I turned ortho mode off, well, then my line is not horizontal. I can try to get it horizontal, but sometimes it's a little difficult. That says right there on that crosshair, it's 0 degrees, but if I zoom in, that doesn't look like it's horizontal. So it's a little bit challenging when you're not in ortho mode. So if I turn ortho mode back on, okay, I want a 30-degree line. That means I'm going to have to stretch it out here till it gets to be 30. And now I got to finesse, okay, because it's 30. I want it 30, 0, 0. And man, it's hard to get 30, 0, 0. And I guess I'm just going to have to do the best I can. And I click right here, okay? So I'm going to hit escape, because otherwise it will keep on making lines. So there is a 30-inch line. It's horizontal, and I did it without the dynamic input. Next, it says draw a 30-inch vertical line in ortho mode without the dynamic input. So this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to draw a line, and I'm going to bring it down here until it is about 30. And it's boom, and hit escape. So here I've got a horizontal line that's 30 inches long. I've got a vertical line that's 30 inches long, and I did it without the dynamic input. Next, it wants me to draw that 30-inch horizontal line with the dynamic input, which is much easier. So I come up to the line function. I'll go ahead and start my line. And as all I do is I start it, and I go to my keyboard and I type in 30, and you can see the little white box above my line says 30, and I hit enter and hit escape. And now I've got a 30-inch line, much easier than trying to, trace it out and make sure I get right exactly at 30. I can do the same thing now, making a vertical line coming down, and I'm going to start my line, and I type 30 and I hit enter, and I have made a 30-inch vertical line using my dynamic input. Now we want to draw diagonal lines. We want to draw diagonal lines. So the next check in the checklist says draw a 30-inch line at 45 degrees. I'm just going to pan. See, I'm putting my thumb wheel down and I'm panning. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to start my line. I have to turn my ortho mode off, because if I start to draw my 30-inch line, ortho will not allow me to go at an angle. So I got to come down here, turn ortho off, and now I'm going to try 30 inches. So there's 29, there's 30, and if you look, the gray box below the crosshair is my angle. I want to get it at 45 degrees. So I'm going to try and move it up. And so here you see I'm juggling 45 degrees, and I'm juggling trying to get a 30-degree angle. And I'm just going to try that. Hit escape to get out of my line drawing mode. And that is a 30-inch line at 45 degrees. Next, it says, go ahead and draw a 45 degree. We want a 45-degree angle, but instead of going to the right, we want to go to the left. So I'm going to hit my line property. I'm going to get this thing started. I'll do it over here. And I'm coming up, and look at that. I'm almost at 30 degrees, or excuse me, about 30 inches, but it says 138 degrees. That's not 45 degrees. I'll move this all over the place and I can't find 45 degrees. Well, this acts like a protractor. And when protractor over here is 0 degrees, I got 90 degrees, and I come over here 180. So what I need to do is I need to take 180 and subtract 45. And that's going to get me, I think, 135. So I got to find 135. There's 135, and I need to go out to 30 inches. And again, you're juggling between the 30 degrees, or the 30 inches, and the 135 degrees, and that's probably about the best I'm going to get. So I hit escape, get out of the line function, and there I've got a 45 degree going to the right. There I've got a 45 degree going to the left. And we did that without the dynamic input. Well, now it says go ahead and try a 30-inch line at 60 degrees to the right with the dynamic input. So we can do this much easier. So I'm going to hit my line. I'm going to start drawing my line, and all I have to do is type 30. You can see 30 is in that white box. Now I'm going to hit the tab button, and it's going to now go into my angle, and I want to type 60 degrees. And I hit enter and hit escape. And so there is a 30-inch line at 60 degrees of an angle. Now I want to go 60 degrees in the other direction using dynamic input. So I'm going to go ahead and start my line. I'm going to kind of draw it up here. I'll go ahead and type 30. And so 30 is in the first box, and that is my length. I'm going to hit the tab button, and I need to subtract 60 from 180. 180 minus 60 is 120. So I'm going to type in 120, and I'm going to hit enter, hit escape, and there is my 60-degree line going to the left. Okay. That is how we make lines. The final step that it wants me to do, there's two more things it wants me to do. First, it wants me to draw a 45-inch square in ortho mode. So let's draw, we're going to connect my lines to make a square. So I'm going to go to the line function. I'm going to go ahead and turn ortho mode on down here. So I start my line across. It's supposed to be 45. So I'm going to type in 45 in my dynamic input and hit enter. I'll start to come down now. And I'm going to type in 45 and hit enter. And I'm going to come to the left and I'll hit 45 and enter. And I will come up to the right. And now I've got a square that is 45 inches long. The last part in the line function is to draw a diamond. Draw a diamond 45. So we'll pan over here. I'm going to hit my line function. I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to start to, I got to get out of ortho, turn off ortho mode. So I want to go 45 degrees. So it's 45 inches at 45 degrees. So I'm going to hit 45, hit enter, or excuse me, 45. I'm going to hit tab, and then I'm going to hit 45 and hit enter. Now I'm going to come up here. And remember, I need to take 180 minus 45, which was 135. So I'm going to type 45 for my length. I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to hit 135 for my angle, hit enter. I'm going to come down here and now here we've got the 180 again. So I'm going to hit 45. I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to hit 135, hit enter. And finally, I'm going to come down here and join it. And now I've got my 45 degree diamond, or my 45-inch diamond and my 45-inch square. And we are done for the line function.